my nana, Gwen, she lived in the countryside, very humble life. They grew their own vegetables, they had their own animals, cooking meat over a fire. And in here, we take those really simple techniques and we make them fantastic again. Well, the first thing you have to do is walk right through a butcher shop to get into it. The butcher shop is a standalone butcher shop, whole animal, but another interesting feature of it is we make our own charcuterie. So we have a dry cure room, we make bresaola and prosciuttos and capicolas, all sorts of salamis, and then of course all the live fire cooking, the asador. I think we're the only restaurant in LA to have an asador. It's a giant fire pit. We cook whole animals up around the asador. There's a variety of different smoke and fire that we sort of use to cook the proteins. It's a big restaurant with lots going on. There's lots of different elements to it, so it's lots of fun working here. I'm going to show you one dish today, which is our 90-day aged beef. We have beautiful ribeyes, we age them for 90 days, it gets this really funky, delicious flavor, and we dehydrate it in the dry age walk-in, so the flavors get even more condensed and even richer. First thing we need to do is remove the chine, which is this big piece of bone, and that involves a saw. And I'm a chef, not a butcher, so I'm going to get someone to do it for me. I think the culture of a restaurant is without doubt the most important thing that a restaurant has, and what I set out to create was a family environment. We've tried to break down all those barriers between the kitchen and the front of house. My brother runs the front and I run the back. We cook a beautiful family meal for everyone. We're doing stuff that most restaurants never get the opportunity to do. The chefs are learning how to butcher animals, the front of house are learning all about the kitchen. It's a really nice interactive environment. You end up with this big, beautiful 90-day aged dry beef that's just got the most divine smell and an even better taste. Shall I cook it for you? So the whole purpose of the bracero is to create the coal underneath. We drag that across, and that's actually what we cook the steak on. So we season with just salt, no pepper. You've got to season it really generously because there's all this meat in the center of the steak that doesn't see any seasoning at all. And we're going to cook it in a really hot spot, and then we're going to move it off and cook it really quite slowly. To take something as primitive as cooking meat over a fire and mixing it with something that's a lot more sophisticated, it's like what my nan was and what she probably wanted to be. And one interesting thing that's happened here, of course we cook so much on live fire, is as soon as you open the door, I have the same smell that I walked into my grandma's house 30 years ago, and it's a really beautiful memory of her. So the steak has such a beautiful, intense flavor that really speaks for itself. And you need vegetables that aren't too creamy and aren't too rich to work really well with the steak. And the leeks and the artichokes does lighten up the flavor of the beef. To me, as a chef, you get to eat in a lot of your friends' restaurants. And the nicest experience is when the chef comes out to the table, takes the menus away and says, is there anything you don't want to eat? Because I'm just going to cook for you. And then suddenly your experience has begun. You start doing what you went there for, communicating with the person that you're having dinner with, right? So I like that tasting menu format because a lot of the guesswork is taken out of it for the guest. And as the chef, you get to sort of orchestrate an experience. You can get a lot of balance through the course of a meal, knowing that you get to do all 6 courses. But I still want the guests to be in control, and I still want them to have fun. So we let them choose something incredible from the dry age room, whether it's an aged duck or a big steak. You still get to be in control as a diner here. For the full list of LA's hottest restaurants, that's all on THR's list. Make sure you go to thr.com/eats.